The Work and Pension Secretary says there will be no rethink on controversial Tory plans to pay for social care. But Boris Johnson appears to suggest there could be changes.
There will be a consultation on getting it right. But the broad thrust has got to be brave, to be resolute, and to take on the problem.
Also, Trump calls for unity in the Middle East in the fight between good and evil, but he attacks Iran for spreading destruction and chaos.
This is ITV News with James Mates.
Good evening. The Work and Pension Secretary, Damien Green, says there won't be changes to their proposals to include the family home in assets that can be used to pay for elderly care, despite criticism from Tory voters. But the Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, wasn't singing from the same hymn sheet, appearing to suggest today that there could be modifications after consultation. Here's our political correspondent, Angus Walker.
The campaign was all smooth sailing, or so the Conservatives may have thought, until their manifesto was launched and plans to reform the way we pay for social care began to rock the boat in traditional Tory seats. But despite rumblings of an internal backlash, senior Tories have been defending the manifesto plans.
The broad thrust is right. As Prime Minister said, there will be a consultation on getting it right. But the broad thrust has got to be brave, to be resolute, and to take on the problem.
By mentioning a consultation, was that a hint of a concession from Boris? Senior aides say there have always been plans to consult on social care. The Labour leadership continues to condemn what it calls a dementia tax.
To be frank, I'm really concerned. The Conservatives now on this issue around social care have caused absolute consternation and fear amongst millions of families, and we're going to stop them.
This is going to be devastating for families up and down the country. The fact that there is going to be no cap on the amount that you have to contribute to your own social care.
One Conservative candidate told me that the social care plans in the manifesto will take votes away from the Tories. But just how damaging will this backlash be in leafy, southern, marginal constituencies?
I think it might narrow the odds a bit. And I think the Labour people might catch up.
The main issue with that proposal is that to own anything in this area, you're talking 200,000 plus.
I don't think it's right. I think older people need to be able to live in the houses that they've had all their lives and brought their families up in.
No U-turn on the horizon, but there's little doubt the Conservatives have steered themselves into choppy waters. Angus Walker, ITV News.
US President Donald Trump has told Middle East leaders the fight against terrorism is a battle between good and evil. Mr. Trump was addressing a meeting of more than 50 Arab and Muslim leaders in Saudi Arabia, calling on them to fight a crisis of Islamic extremism. Ronki Phillips reports.
The floor is yours, sir.
It was a slow but deliberate walk to deliver the speech Donald Trump knew the world would be watching. Addressing the leaders from 55 Muslim-led countries, the president used his keenly awaited address to rally them in the battle against Islamist extremism.
Drive them out. Drive them out of your places of worship. Drive them out of your communities. Drive them out of your holy land.
In stark contrast to his rhetoric on the campaign trail, where he repeatedly attacked Muslims and proposed banning them from America, Mr. Trump assured them he's not against them.
We are not here to tell other people how to live, what to do, who to be, or how to worship. Instead, we are here to offer partnership.
The president then picked up on comments made earlier by the Saudi king, describing Iran as a destabilizing force in the region.
Iran funds arms and trains terrorists, militias, and other extremist groups that spread destruction and chaos across the region. For decades, Iran has fueled the fires of sectarian conflict and terror.
Donald Trump knows this speech will be analysed in detail. He must also be hoping it'll improve his relations with the Muslim world and reset his image at home and abroad. Ronke Phillips, ITV News.
The bodies of 3 whales have washed up on the Suffolk coast near Felixstowe. The 2 adult minke whales and 1 minke calf were found at 3 different locations. It's not clear how they died, but one theory is that they may have been hit by a large ship. Football, and with the Premier League title already won by Chelsea, the focus on the final day of the season's been on the race for the top 4, with Manchester City, Liverpool and Arsenal all hoping to claim the final 2 places, as Will Mott reports.
But they'll need plenty more magic to challenge Chelsea next season. Their win today, their 30th of the season, celebrating a title all but won many weeks ago. Will Mott, ITV News.
And in Scotland, champions Celtic have completed their unbeaten league season with a 2-0 win over Hearts. Stuart Armstrong's second-half goal securing a record points total of 106. Celtic can now complete a domestic treble if they beat Aberdeen in next week's Scottish Cup final. And finally, a teenage racing driver who lost both of his legs in a crash was back behind the wheel today, just 5 weeks later. 18-year-old Formula 4 driver Billy Monga had to settle for a slower vehicle than he's used to, but he had scores of fans and supporters along for a lap ahead of today's British Touring Car Championship at Alton Park in Cheshire. That's it. I'm back with the late news at 10 o'clock. Until then, have a very good evening.